Reviewing cars nowadays is almost like reviewing SUVs or crossovers all the time. Here's another one. It's rather small, it's rather compact, and it almost looks like a coupe because it hasn't got any rear door handles. This is the Mazda MX-30 REV. So this is a plug-in hybrid car. When this first came out, it was the fully electric one, which still is available, of course. You get 140 horsepower in that one, but the downside with that one was that you couldn't get further than 200 kilometers max. Even though they could motivate it like this is something that you get around town with and maybe a little further than that. On a day-to-day basis, it works, but nowadays that doesn't work for many people. What it is that it's very appealing. It looks good. It is a great design to it. I just like it. And it's nothing complicated about it. But this one, the plug-in hybrid version, the REV, well, it is a little different than traditional plug-in hybrids because it only runs on electricity from that 17.8 kilowatt hour battery. But what they've introduced here, which you can see on these signs, is the wankel engine. That wankel engine that really is a trademark and a product from Mazda. They used it in the RX sports cars and also in the RX-7 back in the days. So let's head off in this very interesting package from Mazda. And why it is an interesting package? Well, that is due to the setup of the engine and the battery. It's a plug-in hybrid, but it doesn't work like a plug-in hybrid. It's only electric drive that runs you along the way. That 830 cubic centimeter wankel engine, that works as a generator to fill up that 17.8 kilowatt hour battery. 3 drive modes, full EV, well, it's EV all the time. And then you got normal, and that keeps the battery level at a minimum of 45%. And then you have charge, and then the wankel engine spools up a little more to get the charge up to whatever level you wish for, from 10% up to 100%. So that's rather smart. But when you drive along like this, the whole ride feels a bit firm. It feels a little sporty in that way. When you get to some corners, you can feel that the chassis is there. It is a bit stiff, but it has some soft feeling to it at the same time. So I think it just feels compliant and nice. But what's fun, when that starts to charge, even though we're going downhill now, you can feel how it winds up that wankel. Sometimes it feels like something is a little broken. It's not a very satisfying engine noise or tune to that, but it has its character, and I find it not that very disturbing, but it is a bit different. And that is the whole mentality about this car. They want to feel a bit different in its attitude and its personality. So I think it's more about that, putting this wankel in, which is the trademark of Mazda. A compact engine that don't have any pistons, it is rotating, and is rotating fast, which means that it really revs up high. Torque wasn't the strongest side on these cars, but they revved up really nice and you needed to work it. So that was a rather fun factor in its own way. And now 8 years after it was introduced in the RX-8, it comes back into this one. And it's a compact little engine, only 830 cubic centimeters. And what it does is that it only works as a generator, putting power back into that 17.8 kilowatt hour battery. And that is a little different, but it also becomes rather smooth because you're always relying on the electricity power to move you forward. And when the battery starts to get depleted, well, then that engine kicks in and you get that sound of that wankel engine, which is a little different. But it's a nice touch, which I like, because it feels like a fully electric car in that way. Lower center of gravity, and it doesn't kick in from time to time like a regular plug-in hybrid does. But on the downside, it can drain a little more of that fuel from that 50-liter tank when it needs to charge up quickly in the different settings. But apart from that, if you're effective and plug it in at work, at home, well, 85 kilometers on that battery, that is not bad. And there is something about Mazda that is so uncomplicated. I think it just proves it from the outside to the inside. We start with the design, of course. I think it looks rather cool. It is eye-catching, very good looking front. I like the lights. I like how it gets cut into that grille in the front. Some plastics here, which gives you a little feel of a SUV or a crossover. And this bi-tone color, which goes up here on the pillars and back there, together with the black color. This is special. This is a special one, and you can only get it on the RV model, and that is called the Edition R. So here in Sweden, you can choose 3 trim lines. It's the exclusive line, it's the Makoto line, and it's the Edition R line. So this is the top ranging one with equipment that is well more than you need, but packaged together very, very neatly. Not a powerful car, 170 horsepower, 0 to 100 in 9.1 seconds. So this is not fast. Top speed is 140 kilometers an hour. So this is a car that you just drive as a commuter. But I like when you drive around, you have very good vision all around. And when driving calm over some complexities in the road, it is a quiet ride. It just handles all these bumps rather well. So a little more freedom in this one if you want to go on the long journeys. 680 kilometers in total, fully electric, 85 kilometers. But you can top it up rather quickly at a fast charging station. Well, you can top it up from 20 to 80% in 25 minutes. So that is rather good because it takes 36 kilowatts. And at home, it takes 11 kilowatts. So that's just good overnight and wherever you plug it in when you commute. So you use this mostly on electric. That's good. And not such a big engine that is lugging around. Only 830 cubic centimeters of wankel engine, which is rather compact and small. And that's good. But the overall control of the car, I think it's good. And you don't need that much speed. This is rather comfortable. It's very controllable, not feeling like you're being swinged from side to side. Good one. 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in 9.1 seconds. The acceleration is okay. And I like the feeling of this car. Brake, get in. The turn-in is just great. It feels like it really has this low center of gravity. It's very amusing in the corners. You know, you can push it a bit and it feels a bit understeery, but not that bad. It is just great on curvy roads. It is just great on motorways. And it's just great when puttering around in a very low pace. It's quiet. It takes on the road. It is a little firm, but at the same time, it feels soft. So it's got a very nice hybrid drive about it. And when you want to push it a little, well, it doesn't step out of line and it doesn't lean in any way. So the driving feel of this one, well, it's just intact. It's just there. So I like it and I like how it looks. I also like the rear part of this car. The rear lights, they give a little vibe of Ferrari in some way, I think. And well, it's just fun. And what is more fun? Well, that's how you open the doors. So they are rear hinged. So you open them like this. And when looking at it, it feels very roomy. But the only negative thing about these doors is that when you want to throw something into the back seat, when you need to open one door and then the other, it becomes a little too much. And also in tight parking spaces, if you want to get someone out of there, that can also be a little tricky. But it looks cool and it gives a little different vibe about the car. The boot space is 350 liters, not that much. And on this one, we got the Bose sound system as well. So that is reduced a little more due to that bass in the back. So 332 liters. But no problem, you can fold the seats 60-40 if you want to do a split there, or you just fold them down and you got some more. Because I think this is a car that you buy for yourself, or maybe if you got a partner, or if you got small kids. And my kids, they really loved this one. They just thought it was as cozy as I think it is when you look at it and when you open up into the back, because it feels like a little own room there. It is not that big, but the funny thing is that both of them said separately, not, you know, knowing what the other thought about it, is that, oh, I would like to go on a trip. This was cozy back here, and that says something about it. We all have the same opinion about that. So cozy car in that way. Driving this car for a while and just soaking up the interior. and how everything works, how intuitive it is, how simple it is, how clean it is. To me, it feels like it was a while ago since I stepped into a cabin that felt this unpretentious in some way, that just felt good, quality-wise, in a logic way, and how you get into a perfect driving position and without any fuzz about it. I just love how it looks in here. The design is just great. You get a little screen here for your climate control. You get touch on it. Of course, you can touch the screen here and how you adjust the temperature and the fan, but you can do it just on the side on these physical buttons, which is just great. This console down here is like a flowing one. It gives very good space, and all around it you get these cork material, which just lifts it a little, and very easy to use this scrolling wheel down here, like in the BMWs. Click it to enter, and you get into music on that button there, navigation here, back, home, and you can change the volume on this volume knob here. And it's very, very clean with a very nice little gear lever. Cup holders down here. You put these over. A very good armrest with some storage down below. The steering wheel feels just great. Carved out, perfect feel, very thin, have some depth to it, but feels just like in the Mazda MX-5. So really, really good. And when you drive it, you can really feel that it has some great, honest weight about it. There is no setting for getting it softer or harder, firmer, or anything like that. It's just what it is. And it makes the car feel very responsive in its drive. I really love that. The seats, they are great. They are a bit stiff, but at the same time, they're very comfortable. You sit great in them. And as I said, you get into a very good driving position. You can get real low. And the materials all around is just fine. It doesn't feel cheap in any way. Got some fabrics here, a little window here to let some light in because it's rather dark. You can get some lighter materials, of course. And some physical buttons here, which are so easy to understand. Very responsive, very good. 2 paddles. That one is for the regenerative braking. Click that one and it gets stronger. And click the right one a couple of steps and the car just rolls without almost any friction. 3 different gogs here, 1 digital in the middle, but then you got analog on the rest of them for how much petrol you got, for how much battery you got, and also that charge and power gog. Real good vision all around until you look back. Yeah, of course, because the pillars, they become big and strong. So just a cozy place like in a submarine or something back there. I feel that they've done it so right that ergonomically and the way that it's laid out in here should be like a layout guideline for many other cars. Getting in behind myself and yeah, I'm sitting low, which is good. I like that. But I can't really stuff my feet under that seat. And for me, 175 centimeters tall, well, it works and I like it. Let's shut the door. I like it. It is cozy back here. And what do you got? 2 cup holders, armrest. The seats are cozy, much softer than the ones in front. And if you want to get some space, well, there's 2 buttons here. You can adjust the driver's backrest and also the whole seat if you want to get some more space. And some pockets down here, so it's not bad for the kids. Not at all when going on some journeys. You got ISOFIX here all around. So it is a little special, and I just like that. Makes a car special, together with the wankel engine special. So the price for this car starts at 415,900 Swedish crowns for the exclusive line. The Makuto, 432,400 Swedish crowns. And this one, the Edition R, 481,400 Swedish crowns. That is a lot of money, but you know, that's what cars cost nowadays. And I think that this is logical. This is nice. The design is great. The ride is great. So the price is rather well set. I think so. But overall, what this car gives me is a feeling of joy. It is a bit special. And you can always talk about cars having their different personality or something. Yeah, of course. All cars have that. This has it. But I like this one in some way. It is a mini SUV, mini crossover. Always regarded these cars as being, you know, not ridiculous, but a bit unnecessary. Just make a normal one, but this is such a popular segment. But what this car gives me, all cars have upsides and downsides, but this car, it gives me plenty of joy. I like how it drives. I like how it handles in the corners. I think it's quiet enough. It's very easy to drive. You see well out. The seats are good. It doesn't throw you from corner to corner in your seats because it feels rather planted when you drive it. It's comfortable. It's quiet. It feels effective. And this engine gives it its character, even though the sound is a bit fun when it recharges. You know, I can buy that because I think the overall ambience of the car, how it looks and how it makes you feel, is very special. And that it only runs on electricity and that engine doesn't kick in from time to time. I mean, 85 kilometers, not that in real life, 66 kilometers maybe, you know, plugging it in every time you go to work or you have that commuting stretch. You get to work, and if you can plug it in there, well, then it's just good. Then you're always fully charged. And you know that that engine won't intervene. Even though when that intervenes and need to recharge it, yeah, it becomes a little more thirsty. So it is a plug-in hybrid in its own way, because the same as it jumps in and works, well, that's just the different mathematics, but it adds up the same. And I like the simplicity in here. I think that is very elegant. It's very clean. So to me, a very likable car.